I always find that sorting luggage out for a modern classic bike is one of the hardest tasks. Finding something that's reasonably waterproof but also looks the part, that's the tricky bit. I've been sent a dozen or so links for leather luggage from here, there and everywhere. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't, but by and large, leather isn't a particularly practical material for bike luggage. Especially if, like me, you're generally carrying around thousands of pounds worth of camera equipment. Leather will handle light showers okay, but if you get caught out in prolonged heavy rain, it doesn't stand up to it very well. Ex-military equipment has always been repurposed by motorcyclists, right since the early days of motorcycling. Rugged, practical, and more than capable of standing up to the elements. After the Second World War, there was an abundance of this kind of gear, really cheap and readily available. And so when Royal Enfield's waxed cotton panniers caught my attention, I just knew straight away they were the bags for this bike. As you might have guessed if you follow this channel on a regular basis, waxed cotton and canvas is a particular favourite of mine. It's very tough and practical. It can last a lifetime, and with every passing year it just looks better and better as it patternizes. For me, these panniers were also attractive because of the price. Bike panniers can be very expensive, and it's easy to spend £500 on a set of bags and the necessary framework. So at round about £200 for genuine Royal Enfield bags, including a set of very sturdy rails, that seemed like a bit of a bargain to me. Royal Enfield have obviously taken inspiration from their military motorcycle background. And a lot of people can be forgiven for thinking that these are only really suitable for the battle green or the desert storm variations of the Bullet. But that's not the case, and these do look the part on any of the classic Bullet variants. And I have to say, the whole setup looks very similar to some photographs I've seen of my dad's bike back in the day. Each bag has just over 15 litres capacity, which would be ideal for a long weekend's bed and breakfasting for me. But if you wanted to do some camping, an additional rack and duffel bag would undoubtedly be required to carry everything that you need. Now, despite the sort of old-fashioned traditional look of these bags, they are actually quite a technical bag. The bag has stiffening panels both at the back, both sides and at the bottom. And at the back on the top there's a sort of a pocket which slips over the pannier rail to hold it in place. When you receive these bags, the stiffening panels are all sort of folded in to make it easier for them to be shipped, but it only takes a couple of seconds to fold them out again so that the bag takes its normal form and shape. And in the bottom of each bag you'll find a webbing strap so that you can carry it to your hotel or bed and breakfast from your bike and back again. Probably not something that I would use, but in either case both bags come with a sturdy carrying handle. Now, once you've slipped the bag on, you secure it by means of two straps at either side. They're a simple webbing affair assisted with some velcro and a couple of D-rings, and these hold the bags down firmly so there's no chance of them slipping off if you hit a bump or get some air whilst travelling over a small humpback bridge. They are a little bit fiddly, but not too much so. Convenient enough, but not too easy to detach that a casual thief can be away with your bags within seconds. Now, I know some people don't like soft luggage, and for them security is a major issue. But the answer to that is simple really, you just don't let the bike out of your sight. Now, the bag doesn't have any fancy additional pockets, there's just one major compartment inside, but it takes the form of a standard design dry bag. The roll top section is actually sewn into the main bag, and I think it's some sort of PVC. Now, I cannot as yet attest to the waterproof capabilities of the materials used, but providing that they do pass muster, the design of these bags and the quality of the materials used suggests that they will be very waterproof. The top flap again just fastens down with two double D-rings, hiding away the technical bits and giving it that vintage look. Actually fitting the frame is a bit of an education. I was initially disappointed that there wasn't a chrome or stainless steel version. The only version available appears to be black powder coated, but in actual fact once it's fitted it looks okay with the bike. It sort of blends into the black framework. Each frame attaches at 3 points on either side, with 2 attachment points on the rear mudguard stay and 1 attachment point at the top shock absorber mount. It has to be said, Royal Enfield's instructions for fitting are not the best in the world. They are quite vague in places and leave an awful lot to interpretation. There's also quite a lot of adjustment required to get these things to fit properly. It wouldn't be quite so bad if the instructions were readable. Unfortunately, Royal Enfield have had these written by a Russian defector, a retired member of the KGB, who thought it would be funny to make these instructions so small, a microscope's required to read them. All that aside, with a bit of trial and error, and some loose interpretations of the minuscule instructions, they are reasonably easy to get on. I have just one issue with them. The clamps for the rearmost fender stay mounts have been welded at the wrong angle. At first I thought it was me, I thought I'd done something wrong, and I spent the best part of an hour trying to realign everything to get them to fit properly. But judging by the way Royal Enfield's instructions are written, they are aware of this and they've decided to just make do, because the method they've described for actually fitting these wouldn't be required if they're lined up correctly. They have supplied some very thick rubber shims to help with the situation, and you do have to make sure that those shims are in place properly so that it doesn't damage the paintwork on the stay. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's just one of those things that Royal Enfield does here and there. Although if I've done something wrong, I would be grateful on any advice to rectify this. The only other thing that you need to be aware of is the rear foot pegs if you have them fitted. If you don't push the rack far enough back, you won't be able to fold your foot pegs up. All additional required fasteners are included with this kit. Some, as I discovered with the Interceptor, are of dubious quality, but I suppose we do have to make some allowances for the price point that we're working at here. Once fitted, the rack is very strong, and one thing that I do like about it is that it supports your panniers from underneath. The straps etc. are just intended to secure the bags onto the frame. The support at the bottom of the frame is actually what takes the weight. This means that these bags are going to be able to take a lot more weight than most panniers. On the whole, I do consider these to be a good set of durable panniers. They're certainly in keeping with the general flavour of the bike. OEM luggage often ends up looking a bit twee. It often looks out of place, a scenario that Royal Enfield have managed to avoid with these products. Now, as I said earlier on, I have a soft spot for waxed cotton and waxed canvas. What I usually find is that the wax applied at the factory often isn't particularly good, so I tend to retreat with something like the Barber wax dressing, and that should be done yearly anyway. The canvas is a good heavy duty canvas, and I've got no doubt that it will give many years of service if it's retreated regularly. Once again, thank you so much for watching this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. I will of course be back on Friday, so until then, if you're riding, please ride safely, and I'll see you soon.